This thing on? Hi, how you doing? What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Dustin Apple, hashtag White River Rambo. Shop's empty right now. Just got 2 boats out earlier this week, and well, it's time to get back into the jet boat build. So I cut a piece of aluminum here, and it's time to make the tunnel. As you remember, we flipped that boat upside down, put it on the trailer, and pulled it out of here. So she's sitting ass up out there in the yard, and it's time to pull her back in here and cut that tunnel. Now, I've been doing a little bit of research about tunnel length, shape, and I've done them differently in the past. This time I'm going to follow the manufacturer's recommendations to a T, sort of. I used to think a tunnel needed to be long, and well, I was told differently. No, a tunnel doesn't need to be that long. A tunnel just needs to ramp up, and it will suck water up enough to feed the intake. Okay, well, the longer the tunnel, the easier it'll suck, right? Yeah, but it also slow the boat down. Okay. Go to the original manufacturer's thing, and well, I tell you what, I saw that, right? That drawing right there says that a tunnel should only be 18 inches long. And I'm like, 18 inches long, and it's going to lift water to, man, that just don't seem very long. But then I've been on boats where pods were the wrong angle, and it sucked the boat down even up to 30 mile an hour. And I was like, wow. So making my way in the world today takes everything you got. I'm taking this. I'm gonna make it 24 inches long, and I'm going to extend it on past the back deck a little bit. All right, so here's what we got. So right here we are 16 inches on the front, 45 degrees, and then back here we are 14 inches across the top, 45 degrees. Now I made this 24 inches long. But my transom needs to be 18. So what I'm going to do at this break here, I want to mark 18 inches and go ahead and cut this. After cutting this, you can see if I go straight off the table here, okay, and there's my 18-inch mark transom wise, 18-inch mark transom wise. So this is straight. Now, this is not correct. I don't want water going around this corner. I want water to go from all the way across here in this bucket and lift and pinch. So the front of that is 16 inches. The back of this is 14. I need 14 inches to feed my bucket or my nozzle, okay, no matter how it's turned, right? The nozzle turns. So, like, this needs to go out more. So I measured from here over to the center, and I got 10 and a half. So instead of this being 16 across, it needs to be 21 across. And then back here, I can continue on with my 14. So that's scrap. I got to do it again. All right, so new piece of aluminum for those that are following along. This is 26 inches wide, and now I'm going 28 inches long. It's just, I had a piece, that was whatever, 35 or something like that. And so I'm going to cut this again later. I'm actually going to cut a cope out of this wherever to clearance the outboard. I want this to go as close as possible. So if I end up cutting 4 inches out of this later, that's fine. I'm just looking at this, and I'm thinking by the time I trim my outboard down, it's going to be pretty close to that already. And well, I want a little bit more. So I'm going to head to 28 instead of 24. Now, here on the back, obviously I did the centers both. I got 14 inches measured here, and I have 21 inches measured here. So we're going to break this at 45 degrees, and then we're going to trim it, and hopefully we can get rid of this triangle here, and we will bring this out to where this is straight, and then this is actually pitched more. And just like that, we now have a 90-degree piece, okay? This intersection, 18 and a half inches where I want the transom, or 18 inches where I want the transom, and then 2.5 inches deep. So the only thing that I screwed up and had not planned on was this. At the transom was going to be 14, and now it's 16 because 14's back here. And I thought, man, that sucks. It's going to be an issue. But look, we have a complete flat all the way back here, and this is 10 inches past the transom. If you were following along, we're going to put pods out here. So this pod is probably going to be less than 4 inches away from this, and I will probably go pod and then straight over to this to support this and make sure water feeds this intake perfectly. This looks enormous to me. But when you go to measure it out, put this back. Let's take this real quick. And what we got there? 3 3 3/4 at the back of it. That's quite a bit deeper than what I was planning on. But when you go off the measurements off the website, it's giving you 2.5 inches at the transom, so. All right, here's what we got. So, long story short, transom goes right here. And my goal depth was 2.5 inches, and I'm about there, 2 3/4, somewhere in there. Then I extended this on 10 inches. I told you we made this 28 inches long, right? And when I get done, about the size of half my hand right here, my shoe will fit right in here like this, and I will have to cut a 1/2 moon in here. The only problem with that is back here we are 4 inches deep. Not only will this lift the outboard up to mount properly like this, that's 2 inches of transom that I'm giving up. I need to have this down a little lower. By doing this, it will lift the boat up too, because water going up this is sucking down a lot harder than water that comes here and then angles back flat. So I come here at 8 inches from the back, which is about an inch behind the transom, and I'm going to flatten this out. And instead of cutting back here, instead of pie cutting this and trying to pull this down and then weld that, which would absolutely disturb this profile, I went and I cut here. Now I'm going to go back over to the brake and I'm going to pull this down, okay, and break that across there. That will give me a flat top. And then obviously I'll have to come back here and cut this triangle off here, because then that will be level. But anyway, a lot goes into this, a lot more than what I had realized. Now, as you can see, it's flat, which, I mean, the front's sitting on the ribs. But anyway, all we got to do now is weld it in. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's pretty much where we're at. So time to get cutting. All right, that's getting to be something we can start looking at now. It's not quite fit properly, but this is what's important right here. I think that'll work. And then I've already strung a tape on it from there to there. We got 26, which is perfect. Outboard jet requires 27. So, like, we're going to sit that thing about 1/2 inch up off the transom, bolt her down, and it's a lot shorter design than I'd planned. I'd planned on doing something 3 feet long. And after looking at drawings and talking to a couple other people, I decided just to go with the original drawings from Outboard Jets. And you can find that online. I showed it earlier in the video. And this is very, very close to what they designed. There's just ends at the front of the shoe. I want mine to go around the shoe a little bit to keep as much water right there for pressure as much as possible. You got to think a jet, it's only as good as how much it's sucking water. If it's sucking air, that's not good. So I want this tunnel to pressurize and make, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain, but anyway, that's the goal. And I don't mind that this comes in a little bit. That right there, I don't mind that, because if you line it up right there, these wings that push in, I don't mind that at all. Okay, what went good, what went bad, what was the worst part of it? Well, all worked out pretty good. Now, I will say I had about an 1/8 inch gap over here, it touched in the middle, and a little gap over here, and while that is satisfactory, looks just fine, there was a little bit of shrinkage on this side of the transom and not that side of the transom. So it comes down and there's just a 16th inch whoop. You gotta think, I'm really splitting hairs here, but I'm trying to keep as much cavitation out of this intake as possible. I want this thing to be slicker than a cat's ass. So, see our welds down through there, about the same level all the way down. Not worried about that. And I'm not grinding that either. I want that to be the strongest part of this transition. So I actually am gonna weld this on the inside too. Now, as we go to the front, this is where I started. I tack all the way across there and made sure that I had this transition as clean as possible. We can get a little bit of focus. Come on, focus. There you go, it's not too bad. And then we buttoned up our center keel there, leaving that hole on the top because, well, that's gonna be the hole on the bottom and you want that to drain. So, welded out pretty nice. I think it's gonna work. Give you the last little view of it there. You see how from that center keel, that last 6 inches, it just kind of rolls? That's what you want. You want that transition to just suck water up. And that's kind of the point. So the only other thing that I'm kind of nitpicky about is right here, I'm a 16th lower than I am there. It's a little bit that way, but I think it'll work just fine. Every little bit adds up. Now, another thing you notice, I've got transducer holes over here, Swiss cheese to mount, mend, but I got black line over there, black line over there. I scribed a line from chine to chine, and that's going to be where the bottom of my pod is. And I don't know what this measurement is right here, but it's not a lot. So I'm pretty much going to bring that pod all the way over to here, drill a hole, put my drain plug in, weld around that, and then weld that pod like here, and then put just a little bitty transition piece in between the two. That not only is going to produce a strong tunnel, but displacement while I'm not on pad. I gotta say, anytime I can complete a project and I have something to be proud of when I look back on it at the end of the day, that just makes me want to do more projects. I don't know about y'all, but I am in such mental anguish about projects like this. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be just right. It's got to be. I don't want to look crazy online, but it also needs to run right. It's got to be. I put a lot on myself, and when it comes to stuff like that, being able to have something at the end of the day that I'm proud of, that I built and didn't buy, is well, it's just more fuel for my fire. So are you. Episode 5 is a wrap. At this point, I would ask that you go ahead and share out the entire playlist. We're building a boat, and things are coming together. Now, I will say this, that I have tentative plans to go turkey hunt in Mississippi in 2 weeks. Maybe. And depending on what area I draw, I might be taking a jet boat with me. 2 weeks. That seems pretty crazy. And even for my timeline, it is. So we'll see how it goes. Leave me a comment, please. And, well, I'll see y'all on the next one. Don't forget to wear the personal flotation devices and tree stand harnesses. We're out there chasing God's critters. It's bow fishing season right around the corner, turkey season, all those things. Get you a new life jacket, put it on, wear it, enjoy God's creation, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Come on.